Okay, now welcome to the B400 section. This is order of operations. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have heard about order of operations. So I used to like to tell people it's basically PEMDAS, but the way I write it, it's like this. So all this means is this. P is in parentheses, that's the first thing you look for is parentheses. Second's going to be exponents or square roots. Third is going to be multiplication or division. Now this is with a special rule. This is whichever comes first from left to right. This is a very important rule because some people think that if they see a division first, then they see a multiplication, they'll do the multiplication first, then do division. You don't want to do that, okay? Same thing with addition or subtraction. Same special case. Whichever comes first from left to right, okay? So this is the real way how you do order of operation, PEMDAS. Some of you guys know it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So this is how we're gonna tackle these three problems. So you can write this down. I'm gonna just take it down. You can pause the video if you need to write it down. But I'm gonna take this down real quick because I just need the acronyms to show you how we're gonna tackle these problems. Just do that. Now we're gonna tackle them in this order because it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, like this first problem, we searched to see if there's any parentheses, and we do have a parentheses here. The parenthesis gives us 3, but we write down everything the way they remain. Okay, that's the first thing we did was the parentheses. And what I like to tell a lot of my students is I like to put a P there just to know that, just to make sure I follow my order. Now, since I can check this off, now I look for any exponents or square roots. Exponents or square roots are anything that look like this, or square root, something that looks like this, okay? So we don't see any of that there. So what we do, we just check that off since there's none. Now we look for multiplication or division, and we're going from left to right to see if we see any. We see one here. So 6 divided by 3 gives us 2. We bring down everything else that remains, which is just the 4. We check off the multiplication division. The only thing that's unchecked is addition or subtraction, and that's all we should have, either addition or subtraction. In this case, we have addition, which gives us 6. And like I said, I like to write the order that we follow just to make sure that it went in order, P, D, and A. That's the order you want to follow. Now we're going to do this next one here. First rule is here. Now, I don't want to forget to check this off. For this one here, it's 15 divided by 3 plus -2 times 3. So first rule is we're looking for parentheses. We see a parentheses here. -2 times 3. So we have a negative times a positive, which gives us a negative. And now, the 2 times 3 gives us 6. For this case, we're going to leave that in the parentheses. And we're going to bring down everything else. And it's good to rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. It's always good practice to do that. Now, the next thing we're going to do here, we're looking for exponents since we've already done the parentheses here. Is there any exponents or square roots? There are none. So we can check that off. Now, is there any multiplication or division? Yes, one right here. 15 divided by 3 gives us what? 5. Now 5, and then bring down the plus sign. It's minus 6. And now here, this is something that I always like to talk about. Anytime you have two signs that are next to each other like this, you always want to change them. So we have two different signs, it's a positive and a negative. So what you want to do is, I always draw these arrows and I say, okay, it's a positive times a negative, automatically gives us a negative because it's a different sign, two different signs. So now what I'm gonna do is bring down the 5 and bring down the 6. Now I got 5 minus 6. 5 minus 6 is gonna be -1, okay? We're gonna tackle number 6 because number 6 looks a bit tricky and it has a special case to it. So here, first thing we wanna do is the parentheses first. Okay, we have a parentheses, that gives us 8. We have this square here. We're gonna bring down everything else. X minus 9 is equal to the 8 now squared. Now, the parentheses is good. Now we're gonna do exponents or square roots. We see an exponent right here. 8 to the second power is 64. We have times to the -2 here. And we're gonna bring down the x minus 9 is equal. Now, since we've done the exponents, what's next is the multiplication or division, whichever one comes first from left to right. Now we have 64 times -2 here, which is our multiplication here. 64, so positive times a negative is gonna give us a negative. Now 64 times 2. If you're not sure about this, if you have a hard time with multiplication, you can always do it like this. If it's one number here, 6 times 2 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. So you have -128. And we're gonna bring down what we have left over here, which is the x minus 9 equals the -128. And I can always check to see if I'm doing it right. I got my P here, I got my E here, I got my M here. I'm on the right track. Now I have x minus 9 is equal to -128. This is where the special case comes in. I have to bring this 9 to this right-hand side to the -128. So what I want to do here, since it's an x minus 9 subtraction, I want to do the opposite of subtraction. I'm going to add the 9 to both sides. Now I have x, the -9 plus 9 is gone. And I have the equal sign. Now, if this is -128 plus 9. Now take it as if somebody owed $128 and they're paying $9 on their bill, they are going to owe $119. And another way to look at this is, if I cover the signs, I see which number's bigger. It's 128 is bigger, so I know my answer is going to be negative. Now I can take the 9 away from 128. That'll give me my -119. And there's my answer. So here's 3 examples. You guys can practice on the next upcoming sheets, and hopefully you get it. If you have a question, leave a comment in the private comment section.